Captain William Ironhand Carter stood at the edge of the helicopter pad, watching the last rescue chopper disappear into the white void of the Antarctic sky. Behind him, the Amundsen Scott Research Station sat like a collection of steel boxes, half buried in snow, its windows glowing with yellow light that seemed impossibly fragile against the endless white landscape. He was 63 years old. Too old for this. After 30 years commanding submarines in the U.S. Navy, he'd retired to a quiet consulting job, advising research expeditions on safety protocols. It was supposed to be paperwork and training seminars. It wasn't supposed to be this. 3 weeks ago, Station Delta 7 had gone silent. No radio contact, no satellite check-ins, no emergency beacon. Just silence from a facility that housed 12 researchers in one of the most isolated locations on Earth. The main base had sent a rescue team, and Carter had been on it. What they'd found made no sense. The station was intact, power running, heaters functioning, food still fresh, coffee in the pot still warm, computers logged in and active, beds unmade as if people had just gotten up, but no people. 12 researchers vanished without a trace. Then they'd found the research logs. Dr. Sarah Chen had been the station leader, a climatologist from MIT. Her handwriting filled page after page of the logbook. The entries started normal. Temperature readings, ice core analysis, routine maintenance. Then, 11 days before the silence, everything changed. Day 1. Unusual acoustic phenomena detected at 0340 hours. Deep, rhythmic pulses originating from beneath the ice sheet, approximately 3.2 kilometers below our position. Frequency suggests mechanical origin, but no known equipment operates at this depth. Day 2. Sounds continue every 6 hours. Duration, 47 seconds. We've ruled out seismic activity and ice movement. The pattern is too regular, too deliberate. Day 3. Communications experiencing interference during acoustic events. Satellite uplink drops for 3-5 minutes each occurrence. Marcus insists the sounds are getting louder. Day 5. Ground-penetrating radar shows a massive metallic structure beneath the ice, approximately 2.8 kilometers down, roughly 150 meters long, cylindrical. Could be a submarine, but that's impossible at this depth. The ice here is over 30,000 years old. Carter had read that entry 3 times. He knew submarines. He knew what they looked like on sonar. And he knew no submarine could possibly be under 3 kilometers of Antarctic ice. But the logs continued. Day 7. We made a mistake. We tried to communicate. Johnson used acoustic resonance equipment to send a signal down to the structure. We transmitted for 30 seconds. It answered. The response came 6 hours later, but different. Modulated, rhythmic, like Morse code, but not any pattern we recognize. Day 9. 3 researchers reporting headaches. 2 cases of nosebleeds. The responses from below are getting more complex, more urgent. Whatever's down there knows we're here, and I think it's trying to tell us something. Day 10. Petrova collapsed today. Severe nosebleed, disorientation. When she woke up, she spoke in German. Petrova doesn't speak German. We played back the recording. She was repeating, Sie müssen uns finden. Wir ertrinken in der Dunkelheit. You must find us. We are drowning in the darkness. The entry ended there. The next page was blank except for a single line in shaking handwriting. It's not a submarine. It's a tomb. After that, nothing. 8 days of silence before the rescue team arrived. The main team had evacuated, but someone needed to stay. Carter had volunteered, along with 4 others, Dr. Marcus Webb, structural engineer, Lieutenant Sarah Morrison, Navy communications specialist, Dr. James Rivera, geophysicist, and Elena Volkov, Russian glaciologist with 30 years of polar experience. We stay for 72 hours, Carter told them. We document everything. We don't touch anything we don't understand, and the moment anything feels wrong, we evacuate. Clear? Everyone nodded. Morrison set up communications. Good signal. Check-ins every 6 hours. Rivera assembled his ground-penetrating radar equipment. I need 2 hours to calibrate. Then we'll see exactly what's down there. Volkov stood at the window, staring out at the ice. This place, I don't like it. The ice feels wrong. Carter joined her. Wrong how? In Russia, we have stories, old stories from Soviet expeditions. Stations that went silent, researchers who disappeared. Official reports said equipment failure. But there were classified reports. They described sounds, structures beneath the ice, people speaking languages they didn't know. She paused. Your Dr. Chen wrote the same things, word for word. And those Russian researchers disappeared too. How many stations? 7. Over 40 years, all hushed up. She tapped the window. Antarctica preserves things, keeps them sleeping, until something wakes them. Rivera called from the laboratory. I've got something. You need to see this. They gathered around his radar display. The structure appeared slowly, rendered in ghostly green lines. It was huge, longer than a football field, cylindrical, unmistakably man-made. But it wasn't alone. As the radar probed deeper, more shapes appeared. Dozens of them, scattered across the seabed like toys thrown by a careless child. My God, Morrison breathed. It's a graveyard. Rivera brought one structure into focus. Numbers became visible. U-977. Webb searched his phone. That's a German U-boat, but U-977 surrendered in Argentina in 1945. It was sunk as a target off Cape Cod in 1946. Unless it wasn't, Volkov said quietly. Unless that was a cover story. Rivera scanned the graveyard. 43 distinct signatures. Most are German U-boats, but I'm seeing Soviet designs. And there's an American boat, Los Angeles class, nuclear-powered. Carter felt ice water in his veins. That's impossible. Those weren't built until the 1970s. Unless the ice isn't 30,000 years old, Rivera said slowly. Or time works differently down there. The lights flickered. Once, twice. Morrison checked her equipment. Power surge. Nothing to worry about. But Carter was worrying. What time is it? Webb checked his watch. 1847 hours. Carter looked at Rivera. Dr. Chen's logs. The sounds came every 6 hours. She noted the times. 0340, 0940, 1540, 2140. 1540 was 3 minutes ago, Rivera said. The lights flickered again. For 10 seconds, darkness. Emergency lighting kicked in, red and dim. Then main power returned, and they heard it, deep, distant, resonating through the ice like a massive bell tolling. A sound felt in bones and teeth. It lasted exactly 47 seconds. When it ended, the silence felt wrong. Morrison's hands shook. Satellite link is down, just like Chen reported. Rivera stared at his screen. The structures, they're warm. I'm reading thermal signatures, like engines that were just running. That's impossible, Webb said. Those boats have been down there for decades. Volkov walked to the window. Unless they weren't down there. Unless they just arrived. Carter's mind raced. We contact main base as soon as the link comes back and request immediate extraction. 2 minutes felt like hours. When Morrison's equipment beeped, they all jumped. We've got signal. She keyed her microphone. Delta 7 to main base. Do you copy? Static. Then, main base receiving. What's your status? Morrison glanced at Carter, who nodded. We've detected thermal activity in the subsurface anomalies, requesting immediate extraction. Before they could respond, Rivera grabbed her arm. Look at the screen. The radar display had changed. The submarine signatures were moving, rising through the ice like swimmers ascending from depths. They were coming up. Main base, Carter snapped, taking the microphone. This is Captain William Carter. We are declaring an emergency. The subsurface structures are exhibiting active behavior. We need extraction immediately. Carter, this is Colonel Hayes. What do you mean, active behavior? I mean they're moving, Colonel. We need to not be here when they reach the surface. A pause. Then, earliest helicopter is 18 hours. Weather window is closing. You'll need to shelter. The transmission cut off with a sound Carter recognized from 30 years at sea. Active sonar, pinging through water, searching for targets. Except they weren't in water, they were on solid ice. Ping, ping, ping. Get away from the windows, Carter ordered. The ice buckled. The station lurched violently, throwing them to the floor. Alarms screamed. Through the window, Carter saw the impossible. The ice was cracking, massive fissures spreading across the surface. Something was pushing up from below, breaking through 3 kilometers of ice. The sonar pinging grew louder, faster. Morrison crawled to her equipment. "Main base, we are under attack." The station tilted 30 degrees. Equipment slid. Items became projectiles. Carter grabbed a support beam. Through the chaos, he heard voices. Muffled, distant, in a language he didn't know but somehow understood. "Hilf uns! Wir können nicht atmen. Die Dunkelheit ist ewig. Help us. We cannot breathe. The darkness is eternal." The station stabilized. Carter pulled himself up, helped the others. Morrison had a cut above her eye. Rivera's arm hung at an odd angle. Volkov stood perfectly calm, as if she'd expected this. "Look," she said, pointing. Where there had been flat ice, there was now a crater, 50 meters across, perfectly circular. In the center, metal. Dark metal covered in ice, a conning tower, rising from impossible depths. Hatches began to open. "What's coming out?" Webb whispered. Nothing came out. Instead, light came in. Brilliant white light, spilling from the hatches, spreading across the ice, and with it, voices. Dozens. Hundreds. All desperate. "Sie müssen uns finden. Wir ertrinken in der Dunkelheit. Helfen Sie uns. Bitte. You must find us. We are drowning in the darkness. Help us, please." Carter understood. A prison. Not for submarines. For the men who died in them. Antarctica was the bottom of the world. The deepest, coldest, most isolated place. And the ice preserved everything. Bodies, equipment, and maybe something else that couldn't die. Couldn't escape the eternal darkness of their final moments. Hundreds of submariners from dozens of boats, different nations, different decades, all dying in cold and dark, their boats sinking into the abyss. And somehow they'd ended up here, beneath the ice, preserved in their final moments of terror, waiting for someone to hear them, to find them, to release them. "We need to leave," Carter said. "Now." The lights in the conning tower pulsed. Morse code. Morrison translated. "Help us, please. We are still alive." More towers broke through the ice, dozens surrounding the station. Each strobed its lights, all sending the same message. "Help us, please, we are still alive." "Get main base," Carter ordered. "Tell them to quarantine this sector. Nobody else comes here, ever." Morrison tried her radio. Only static. And through it, voices. Hundreds. Speaking English, German, Russian, all saying the same thing. "Help us. Find us. We're drowning. The darkness is eternal. Please." The station dropped. 6 inches. A foot. They were sinking. The ice was giving way, pulled down by whatever force brought the submarines up. "Emergency packs," Carter ordered. "We head for the surface entrance." They grabbed survival gear and headed for the exit, but the station's geometry was wrong. Doors tilted, hallways curved impossibly. Space was bending between the living world and whatever existed beneath. Rivera stopped, clutching his head. "I can hear them, in my head. They're showing me what happened." His eyes went distant. U-977, April 1945. Storm caught them. Ice trapped them. Oxygen ran out slowly. 3 days of dying in the dark. He turned. USS Thresher, April 1963. System failure. Sank past crush depth, hull cracked, filled with water slowly. They drowned, one by one. Morrison grabbed him. "Rivera, stop listening." K-129. Soviet, March 1968. Missile explosion. Hit bottom. Some were still alive. For hours, for days. In the cold, in the dark, waiting. The station dropped 3 more feet. Cracks appeared in walls. "Keep moving!" Carter dragged Rivera toward the exit. They reached the airlock. Webb cycled it open. Antarctic wind howled in, carrying ice crystals, 40 below zero. They'd survive maybe 6 hours. They stepped into white hell. The landscape had changed. Flat ice was gone, replaced by craters and towers. Submarines jutted at impossible angles. Hatches opened to dark interiors that extended beyond physical limits. From those hatches, light poured, white turning blue, then deeper blue, the color of deep ocean in the last moments before total darkness. The temperature dropped impossibly. Carter's breath froze instantly. His gear was struggling. This wasn't natural cold. This was abyssal cold, crushing cold where sunlight never reached. "Which way to main base?" Webb shouted. Carter checked his compass. The needle spun wildly. "We navigate by sun." But the sun was wrong, dim and wavering, as if seen through water. 300 meters from the station, Volkov stopped. "Listen." Through the wind, human voices, speaking English. "Main base, this is Delta 7, requesting immediate assistance." Dr. Chen's voice, clear, calm, professional. Morrison grabbed her radio. "Dr. Chen, what is your position?" Static. Then, "Lieutenant Morrison, this is Dr. Chen, station Delta 7. We're experiencing equipment malfunctions. What's your position?" "We're 300 meters northwest of Delta 7. Where are you?" Confusion. "I'm at Delta 7. In the operations room, I can see Dr. Petrova, Dr. Yamamoto. Everyone's here. Everyone's fine." Rivera's face went white. "She doesn't know she's dead." Carter grabbed the radio. "Dr. Chen, what is the date?" A pause. "The date is..." It was November 3rd. But that was... How long have we been here? "Dr. Chen, you need to evacuate immediately. Head toward the main base. Don't stop. Don't look at the structures." "The structures? Yes. We found them. We sent a signal. They responded. They're trying to tell us something." "Dr. Chen." The transmission cut. When it returned, 12 voices spoke in unison. "We decoded the message. Do you want to know what it said?" Carter's hand tightened. "What did it say?" "It said, 'The ice remembers everything, and we have been waiting so long for you to remember us.'" The radio died. The wind changed direction, blowing from below, from the craters. Salt water, diesel fuel, decay. "We need to move faster," Carter said, but the ice pulsed beneath their feet, deep, rhythmic, like a heartbeat. Webb looked down. Through translucent ice, shapes moved, submarine-shaped but wrong, too smooth, too fluid, metal like liquid. "Captain," Volkov said quietly, "do you know what happens to men who drown in submarines? They become part of the ship, their bodies, their fear, their final moments, trapped in metal, in water, in darkness. And Antarctica preserves everything. They're still there, still dying, still feeling those last moments. Forever." The ice cracked, small at first, then larger fissures spreading like lightning. "Run," Carter said. "Run." They ran across bucking ice, past craters opening like mouths, past conning towers that turned to track them, dead instruments still searching. Behind them, the ice collapsed. Station Delta 7 fell into a bottomless crater. The sound was tremendous. Ice and metal and thousands of voices crying out. Carter glanced back. The submarines were fully visible, rising from the abyss. Wrong. Hulls twisted, merged, fused impossibly. Metal merged with ice, with flesh. In the portholes, faces pressed against glass. Hundreds. Watching. Reaching. Drowning. Still drowning. Always drowning. They ran for 3 hours. Morrison collapsed first. Hypothermia. Her gear wasn't enough against supernatural cold. "Go," she whispered. "Report what you saw. Don't let anyone else come here." She pulled out her pistol, checked the magazine. "I'll buy you time." Carter saluted. Morrison returned it with shaking hands. Then they left her. An hour later, a single gunshot echoed across the ice. Webb stepped wrong next. His leg broke through ice into supercooled water that froze around it instantly. He screamed as cold burned through his gear. "Can't feel my leg. You have to go. Tell them to nuke this place. Don't let them touch." His heart stopped in seconds. 3 survivors remained. Carter, Rivera, and Volkov. The main base should have been visible by now, but GPS was lying, or the base was gone, or space had twisted. Rivera stopped walking. "I can't do this anymore." Carter turned. The geophysicist stood peacefully. I can hear them calling. They're not evil. They're just lost. They want to be found, to be remembered, to know their deaths weren't meaningless. Rivera. Dr. Chen understood. She and her team went to them, to remember them, and I think it's beautiful, to never be forgotten. He walked backward toward the graveyard. Tell my wife I love her. Tell her I found something important. He turned and ran, not away, but toward it. Carter tried to follow, but Volkov grabbed his arm. Let him go. He's already theirs. Rivera reached the crater's edge. He didn't hesitate, stepped into the light. His body dissolved, becoming part of it. For a moment, Carter heard his voice joining the chorus, then silence. Carter and Volkov walked 6 more hours. The ice stabilized. The cold receded. Suddenly they saw it. The main base, lights warm in the distance. They stumbled through doors into heated corridors. People surrounded them. Questions. Medical personnel. Colonel Hayes pushed through. Captain Carter? Where's the rest of your team? Volkov spoke. Dead. All dead. Station Delta 7 is lost. The subsurface structures became active. Carter pulled out Rivera's data storage. There's a submarine graveyard beneath the ice. 43 vessels. Different nations, different decades. And the men who died are still there. Still conscious, still trapped. Hayes stared. That sounds like hypothermia hallucination. We need to get you to medical. Listen to me. Carter's voice carried command authority. You will quarantine that sector. You will forbid anyone from approaching. You will report this as a critical threat. Do you understand? Hayes nodded slowly. I'll file the report, but I need evidence. Carter pointed at the device. That's your evidence. Figure out how it's possible. And when you do, pray you're wrong. They kept Carter and Volkov under observation for 3 days. During that time, Carter watched news feeds. Nothing. Antarctica was quiet. On the 4th day, Hayes visited. He looked exhausted. We sent a drone to Station Delta 7. Carter, there's nothing there. No station. No craters. Just flat ice. The logs show Delta 7 was decommissioned 3 months ago. Officially empty since October. That's impossible. I know, and I believe you. Hayes dropped a folder on the bed. Because I did some digging. Soviet archives that technically don't exist. Carter opened it. Reports in Russian. Translated. They described the same things. Stations appearing and disappearing. Submarine graveyards. Researchers hearing voices and vanishing. 7 incidents. 1952 to 1991. All hushed up. The Soviets tried to destroy the site with a nuclear device. Small yield. They detonated it 3 kilometers below the ice. What happened? The device never exploded. The delivery team disappeared. And the site is still there. Still waiting. The ice remembers everything, including things that haven't happened yet. We should warn people. Tell them what? That there's a ghost graveyard under Antarctic ice? Nobody would believe it, and those who did would investigate. More would disappear. He was right. The only way to keep people safe was to keep them away. But that night, lying in his bed, Carter could still hear them. Faint, distant, but there. Sie müssen uns finden. Wir ertrinken in der Dunkelheit. You must find us. We are drowning in the darkness. Someone had found them. Dr. Chen had found them. Morrison, Webb, Rivera had found them. Carter himself had found them. But finding them changed nothing. Because the ice remembered everything, and some things were meant to stay lost forever. 3 weeks later, Carter received a package. No return address. Inside was a photograph. German sailors on a submarine deck, smiling. Behind them, Antarctic ice. On the back, U-977, March 1945, before we disappeared. But U-977 had surfaced in Argentina in August 1945. The official records were clear. Unless the records were wrong, unless U-977 had split somehow, one surfaced to tell an acceptable story. One sank into the ice to join the eternal graveyard. Carter burned the photograph, but he couldn't burn the memories, couldn't silence the voices in his dreams. The ice remembers everything. And now, so did he.